Desert Island Discs on 91.3 Capital FM.
It's 91.3 Capital FM's Desert Island Discs, fresh and always reloaded. Closer to you at the palm of your hands when we come to you via YouTube and other channels as we'll progressively be coming to you at. As always, sharing life's incredible stories from ordinary folks, or seemingly so, but with extraordinary life stories. Today I have an interesting gentleman, a man who is aptly dressed in two antagonistic colors, except of course that there's no red about. But, you know, if you've been around in this land for quite some time, you know that yellow and the blue have for quite some time not been quite very good bedfellows, although the chemists will tell you that one is the primary of the other, and so if you mix the two of them, you possibly get something like green.
Green, yeah.
Aggrey Kankunda, welcome to the program. How are you keeping?
Thank you, Simon. I'm well. I'm a farmer, so farmers are always happy.
Not more than teachers.
Oh, we talk as much as teachers.
As teachers.
Yeah. I actually hosted a group of farmers from Hoima today, and I was saying them, you must forgive me. I talk a lot because I'm a farmer. Yeah, but I'm very well, thank you. Yeah.
So he's just introduced what he does for a living at the moment. He is a farmer, he's a tax consultant, but most importantly, he's lived the bulk of his adult life as a Rotarian. He is much kinder than myself and possibly than yourself who's watching, because he believes in service above self. And Aggrey, tell us, how is this combination of these three incredible things going for you? Tax consulting, farming, and philanthropy, if I can put it that way.
I think there's a fit between the three. As a tax consultant, of course, I also have clients who are farmers. But for me to go into farming, of course, I needed to have money, and this money came from my tax consulting work. And then, although my Rotary journey is a little longer than these two, even these two combined, because my Rotary journey is about 30 years. I joined Rotary as a Rotaractor in 1992, right from university. And since then, I have never looked behind, and I've never regretted any single moment.
We'll be asking you, of course, in greater detail what it is about Rotary that makes you, unrepentantly a Rotarian. But here's an enigma I find from your introduction of self.
Yes.
We thought for the most part that farmers, that's the default thing we are meant to be, with or without money.
Yes.
That you just till the land, plant a seed, and there you are, you're a farmer. On the other hand, you seem to say you need to first get some money and go into farming. So my assumption is that you're into not the usual subsistence farming as we know. So what are you farming?
No, not at all. Interesting. My farming journey, now the commercial farming journey is recent. But my other farming journey was more of a hobby, right from my childhood. So when I was in primary school, I think I was in P2, is when I started farming. So I was a very brilliant chap. I was very intelligent. And so I had two aunties that doted over me, Aunt Naomi and Aunt Ida. So Aunt Naomi, every time she came to visit us at home, would ask for my report and leave me with money. So I had a bit of money.
Wow.
And then Aunt Ida comes to see us, I think, on P3, and brings me 2 chicken. You must have seen some chicken moving around. I actually keep one of the chicken that resembles the 2 chicken.
I thought you were saying you have kept the bloodline from.
So she brings me 2 chicken.
It must be a dotted chicken.
Brown, but without feathers on the neck. And one of these days, I'd like to invite you to our farm in Mitiana. Now I keep a very large flock.
Of those without hair.
Yeah, even that cock you see it there in the corner.
I think we'd have something in common.
So they'll be comfortable with your company.
Absolutely.
So she brings me chicken. And that, for me, looking back, and especially for a boy who grew up in town, that seems to have started my journey, ticked off something in me. Then later on, now as a business, but I started my business journey, I think around when I was about, 10, 12.
From the same chickens?
No, now I'm going to tell you how they are related.
Uh-huh.
So these chicken, they grow in number, but because we lived in town, so I couldn't keep many. So I started selling them off, selling their eggs, and then I started a business. I was as a car manufacturer. Actually, when they were starting China Motors, I don't know why they did not consult me.
Wait a minute, so you were a car
I was a
manufacturer?
car manufacturer.
Okay, I won't laugh. Who knows, I could be driving one of your brands. So are you the guy they call Daimler Chrysler?
No, you see, we are some of those least known, inventors, resources. Because I was making, you never drove where
What are you talking
cars.
about?
Did you ever
That's
drive?
what I spent my childhood doing, vandalizing people's fences, getting chain
That's
link.
what I used to do as well. So, for me, I was doing it as a business seriously. I think I had only one car of my own.
The
But
rest
the
you are
others just manufacture and sell. So I used to make, and I was specializing in VWs, Volkswagen. No wonder actually my very second car when I started driving.
Actual car.
Yeah, actual car.
Okay, not this
was
one, you're driving from
was
outside.
a Golf GTI. So I loved the VW. But mine were above average because they had lights.
Shock absorbers.
They had shock absorbers. Seriously, we had to do with shock absorbers. My lights, by 1979, when the war, the Liberation War came, I had started making cars that could even turn. As in, the lights could turn.
Like those of a Citroen.
Yes, of a Citroen. So the looters looted my workshop when we ran away from home in Mbarara. So I should have been compensated. One of these days I should go and get compensation. Anyway, but the money that started that business came from chicken. Wow. So when we came back after the war, after the 1979 war, I needed to continue this business. But then everything, like I've told you, my workshop was looted. So then I went into rabbits. So I used to keep rabbits, many rabbits, and sell to fellow children and stuff, and get money. So I was a rich young boy.
Industrious character. So what
Yes.
were you using this money for? Whenever you had a profit, you plowed it back into the business?
Yes,
or,
yeah.
Or you went to do some kind of luxury?
No. I didn't. I couldn't afford to put money elsewhere. I think I started my accounting, journey.
Vocation, really. Let's go
then.
at that.
So by the time I went to Ontario school, I had a bit of money.
Wow.
Yeah. By the time
You're
I
speaking
joined,
with a lot of modesty when you say a bit of money.
Yeah.
I remember it could have been 7 figures.
it was a lot of money that most banks wouldn't even accept it. I mean,
From a guy of your age.
yeah. I mean, they thought maybe I had some connection in Nicaragua or Colombia. Maybe I was.
kidding me.
Yes. So
It was
anyway,
more than your school fees for this day.
much more.
Wow.
In fact, I would see what my parents were giving me, and I'd laugh. Say, do they know how much money I have?
Anyway, later on you'll be telling us how you were reconciling your conscience with the fact that you're a very rich guy.
Yeah.
But your parents, you're an ordinary broke son of theirs who they had
Yes.
to fend for from scratch.
Yes.
Now that you've talked about all these connecting dots about yourself, let's go back to the basics, or where it all began.
Yes.
Where were you born, you said? When were you born? And to whom were you born?
I was born in Mbarara to a Chiga man called Eliab Saniko, who passed on a few years back in 2015.
Oh dear.
And my mother is called Dina Randume. She's from Igara. My father is there are these Vachiga who Abafuruchi,
They
from
migrated.
Kabale, then they went to Hueju, then eventually they were in Shema.
Though they did not just move out of their own volition. There was a chief who always chased away the bad guys from the village to go and live elsewhere.
Actually, my mother and my father used to tell me that the reason our family, my great-grandparents, migrated from one place to another, but they were fighters. Yeah, so they were very difficult characters. Whenever they reached, they would fight. So they kept on moving because of their.
They beat the village.
They beat, yeah, and they were very strong. Forget about us now.
I was going to say, what happened to you?
we are just nothing compared to
diluted
those guys.
version
We are
of your
totally
ancestors.
diluted. So those were my parents, and I was born way back in 1967.
That's very recent. Don't say way back.
Yeah, you know, it's way back.
In this era when we are
compared to
celebrating
you.
the life of a man that only succumbed at 99, about the, you know.
Yeah, and by then I may get there if I'm not careful.
No, you possibly.
I have a grandfather. My father's uncle Ishento. My father's uncle is 108. Yeah, I have an uncle on my mother's side now. The one my mother follows is 96, 97.
Wow.
And he was riding a bike until like 3-4 years ago. If you met him, you would think he's in his 60s, 70s. Never drank alcohol, never smoked.
Okay, then I think now that disqualifies you a little bit.
I don't drink alcohol. Well, I drink wine. Is wine alcohol?
Well, the last time I checked, it had a bit of an alcoholic content. But so these parents of yours, what exactly was their vocation? What was
my father was a businessman. He had a bus company, and my mother was more of a teacher, a vocational teacher. She was teaching tailoring mostly at there's a technical institute in Roharo as part of Church of Uganda. Yeah, so that's what they were doing.
You little Aggrey born to this family. What were you, an only child?
I was the last born.
How many?
I was the last born of 7.
So now it explains a bit of how much you were pampered, and that's where you could
pampered. I was pampered. Yeah.
I mean, by the time you were born, your parents could not even squash a banana out of its feeding.
I never got any stick from my parents at all.
You're kidding me.
No, never. I think they had spent all of them on my siblings. I followed 2 sisters who have since passed on.
Oh dear.
God bless their souls. But those took the brunt of my misdemeanors in school. So if I went to school and my khaki shorts were not ironed, they would get. If I was late, they would get. When I was in entire school, I started washing my own clothes, and I'm not proud of this. And I hope my son is not listening.
Well, I'm sure he is on YouTube. That's all they do these days.
Yes, so I started washing my own clothes when I was in Kisubi. But for my entire time I was in Intara, I never washed clothes.
In your O level?
Yeah, because our home is a walking distance from Ontario School. So my mother would send one of my sisters to come and pick my clothes from school. And if I was not going to go home, also bring me food for the weekend. Take the clothes, wash them, iron them, then bring them on Saturday. I would either go pick them or they would bring them.
You know, I'm looking at you with this look of surprise. For the longest time, we were told that people who were raised like you are spoiled and never merited and ended up to do anything. And look at you. How do you well, we will find out in the program how a spoiled brat turns out to be an incredible guy that you are today. On the program, we play our music.
Yes.
Aggrey, what will be your first song?
My first song. See, my music, every song that I'll share with you relates to a particular
time in your life.
Time in my life. And my time will be cut into my time in Intare School, my time in Kisubi, my time at university, my young adult life, and then most importantly, my Rotary life.
Wow.
So my first song is a song by Bill Campbell called Nearest My Heart.
Whatever that means, maybe you're at liberty to tell us what was nearest you had that you remember from that.
Actually, it's not so much about who was nearest my heart. I don't think I had a girlfriend in Intare School. I had a number mate in Maryhill. I was number 100, she was number... So we had that thing between Intare School and Maryhill. But it was more about the way we used to dance. I don't think when you went to Intare School, maybe you guys had even started these other things of bend over and stuff. But we, you know, there was a dance called soca. You know, you put your hands, you know, on the side as if you are a cock. My friends, Paul Nyakiru, Don Rukare, you know, they were experts in that dance. Huh? So they remind me. So this song reminds me of that time of at inter school.
Wow.
Our social with Bweranyanji mostly, because those were official girlfriends.
like
Social with Bweranyanji, Maryhill, and Kinoni. So I think those are the only schools we danced with for the time I was in inter school.
Wow,
Yeah,
incredible.
so Nearest to My Heart by Bill Campbell.
Let's jog your memory, take you back to those good old days. We are glad you haven't mentioned the names of those you danced with. They could be, you know, justices of high court and also things. I don't.
I'll probably mention those a little later when we discuss my time in Kisubi.
In Kisovi.
Yes.
We'll be right back. It's Desert Island, where we now share nothing but the interesting milestones of what makes it to the incredible lives that we have lived. And on that program today, himself, Aggrey tax consultant, sharing with us his very interesting life story. We'll be right back.
Desert Island Discs on 91.3 Capital FM.
You're the nearest to my heart. Nearest. You're the dearest to my heart. Dearest.
Welcome back. It's still a conversation raging on with Aggrey, who is a tax consultant, a farmer, but according to him, most importantly, a Rotarian. He's also a father, a husband, and a guy living his life in the best way he knows how, with an interesting way of sharing his life story. So Aggrey, here you are born in this family where you're pampered, your sisters are spoiling you, your mother is making it worse. You transit through primary school as a very brilliant child, you just told us.
Yeah.
You got to Ntare school, which by then was more like living on your own.
Yeah.
No rules that
Yeah.
How was it for you?
Entire school? Oh my God.
There you are.
Ah, gosh. If you didn't go to entire school, I don't know what you will tell God when you eventually meet your creator. Entire school, I loved my time at entire school. It was my dream. When I was in primary school, I had two uncles, Moses and Abe, who were in Mbarai school, that I looked up to. But at the back of my mind, I think I loved Ntare school. So I therefore studied hard and made sure that I went to Ntare school. Ntare school, as you know it, very liberal, no rules at all. One thing you pick from Ntare school is a strong character, a competitive spirit. And
In a laissez-faire environment.
in that yeah, because if you don't have it because of that environment, out. Because there were no rules, there were no forced
there was no harding
preps.
that be here.
No,
go there.
not at all. Apart from you have to be in the class at a certain point, but that is it.
And a bit sober, really. You don't have.
Oh yes. Luckily, I kept a very sober. I kept a very sober mind, but a very drunken company. All my friends smoked and drank alcohol. I never touched any of those.
Why? It tasted bad?
It was first and foremost, it was never in my family. And I think for me, it was part of that self-discipline that I needed to inculcate in myself for me to survive in entire school.
But peer pressure and looking up to people that you have a relationship with is one of the things or the hallmarks of growing up. How were you able to withstand
I know.
this?
I have withstood peer pressure, I think almost up to recently, when a cousin of mine, the lawyer called Ronald Oine, and a good friend, and an uncle of mine, Honorable Manya Mshega, also a good friend, told me that it's okay to drink a glass of wine. And this is recent, like 4 years ago. But
As
I
an
never
adult,
touched.
ne?
Yeah, I never. 4 years ago, I think I was
Okay, I'm now interested
49, 50.
I'm now interested in knowing how much you are now drinking of the wine. Because
Maybe-
usually those who catch up
maybe a
with
glass
it
or
later,
two.
normally do it commercially.
No. I wish I were paid for every glass of wine I take. Huh?
You'd be very
I'd
broke
be
chap.
rich.
No, purposely.
No, so I fought peer pressure. But I liked going out dancing. Sabina, you know, that nightclub owned by the late Kainogui show, that one we did. Yeah, so all those things were available to you in entire school in abundance.
You just
So
had
if
to
you
make the
did
choice.
not make proper choices, you'd fall out. So I kept a very intelligent but drunken company.
Fast forward, you're now a parent to
Yes.
some boys.
Yeah. A boy and a girl.
There we are. Do you allow them that level of libertarian existence, but aware of the realities of choices that liberate them from
Yeah.
the follies of
You
life?
see, you have to. My son takes, I think, Nile Special, which I've never touched. Nile Special
that's
or
one
two.
good virulent drink.
Oh, really?
It's a nice one.
But uncle. So my son takes that. I think my daughter takes a bit of sweet wine, maybe a glass. And you see, as we grow up with our parents, you know, up to HSC, you were still with your parents. Our kids, up to a certain point, they leave you. My son was in Port Elizabeth in South Africa. My daughter is in a university in Toronto, in Canada.
So you have an emptiness.
You just no, you just have to let go. Yeah, there's no way you're going to say you will control them. But also, growing up with my uncles, the Mushegas I've told you about, they grew up drinking, but they are not drunkards. You know, they are disciplined drinkers. So they never got spoiled because they were allowed to drink at an early age. I never allowed these people to drink at an early age. But when they were of age, 18, 19, so my boy, my son, I call him my main man, Aguma, is 25. My little girl, my baby, is 21. So why would I be trying to control their lives? And that goes even for their choices in education. So when they became of age, we sat them down and told them, you know what, make your own choice, pick your own journey, decide what you want to do.
You'll do the
I told them the only thing is, please, whatever you choose, make sure that when you work for a short time, you can be on your own. You can be independent like me, okay? You can be independent and do your own thing. So my son decided to do accounting.
Well, he
And against my advice, against his mother, yeah, we said, because we didn't want him in future to say, you know, I did accounting because of my father. Now he will be telling people, I did accounting in spite of my father.
Wow.
Yeah, and he loves it. So he picked accounting on his own. My girl does creative industries. And it's something we didn't even know about existed. So they picked this, but we said we'll support you in whatever you take. And I hope, you know, now that they are young adults, when the time comes, I told them they can bring anybody, as long as it's of the opposite sex. Huh?
Let's just pray for that. Now let's go back to your life now.
Yeah, so my life in entire school. Yeah, so...
That you nailed. But you excelled in class.
Yes.
You excelled in the social aspects.
Yes.
Of having
Dancing.
Incredibly drunk friends, but
Yes.
with sober mind.
Yes.
What about other extracurricular activities like sport? Did you ever play any game?
I think I dabbed in, I did a bit of lawn tennis, but from childhood I was a swimmer. I used to swim from River Ruiz.
I was going to say,
yeah,
it must have been the
God's swimming pool, River Ruiz and Chiyanja. You know Chiyanja. I started swimming when I was, I think I was 5 years when I started swimming. So swimming, I was good. But these other sports, yeah, apart from a bit of
so you are the guy
lawn tennis and table tennis.
You like the solitary sport where it's one opponent against you.
Yeah, and you beat the hell out of them.
11 out, you're not 11 chasing one
No,
ball.
no. Yeah, I loved watching. Of course, football is painful to me. I'm an Arsenal supporter.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Aren't I glad that at least you still have the, the stamina to go through this interview?
So you see, let me tell you why it is painful to me.
How?
Is for the entire time I was in entire school, there was a little school called Mbara High School. It beat the hell out of entire school for the entire time I was in O-level in entire school. We never beat them in any match at all.
You called it a small school and the guy on the main camera is from Mbara High School. Eh? So I'm just glad that you then turned it around to imagine.
Yeah, but we beat them elsewhere.
Okay.
Yeah. we got the best girls' schools.
Let's
for
steer this
starters.
conversation away from high school, right?
Yes.
Because we may not finish this program considering who's behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But considering the fact that you are an Arsenal supporter and you are still alive,
Yeah.
I think Aggrey you will live forever. But
I told you, given my genes, yeah, I am a hardcore.
I know.
Yeah, I'm a hardcore.
Only hardcore can support Arsenal up to today.
Yes.
So life takes you to St. Mary's College Kisubi.
Yes,
That
yes.
transition.
Yes.
You obviously don't make this kind of transitions without deep thought and motivation. What took you there?
Thank you.
Before we play our next song?
Entire school, like I told you, and I just need to talk about entire school for maybe a minute, builds character, builds a very competitive spirit. You had to survive in that harsh environment. Entering the dining hall needed mental and physical grit to enter dining hall. Many times, especially if you were weak and small like we were, you were carried into the dining hall.
Not deliberately, but by the wave of
by the
you
wave
guys,
of yes.
going in.
So I was in Pioneer. So
that house. Which
yes,
is
Pioneer and
inside
in
the
Mbaguta, but Mbaguta is where Museveni was. And where was Kagame by the way?
In Pioneer.
In Pioneer. So you see, Kagame was with me in Pioneer, and Museveni was my neighbor. President Kagame and President Museveni. So they, even if you ask them, they will also tell you, you had to survive
to get in there.
get in there. That is one. The other one is you also had to survive academically, because you'd go attend classes. Like I've told you, nobody would tell you to go and revise or do anything. So if you did not do this on your own, but what kept us going was the competition, the competitive spirit. If Simon beat me in mathematics in the first term, he wouldn't repeat it in second term. And that went for, everything
Every
else.
subject,
Yeah.
yes.
And that kept, so now, time comes, we have to go to HSC. So we are the people who didn't do our exams in the normal time.
December.
We did our exams in March. And we had my group, we're a group of about 8 boys who went to Kisubi. Ivan Chirembo, Senior Counsel Joseph Masco, who else? Alan Agaba Ndikora, Turamie, Sifas Bushuyu and others. So we were a group. We were brainees. So we said, if we stay in this school and enter HSC when there is this environment, we will never make it to university. So we need to run away. So we all decided we needed to go to a school that, did not have this kind of over-liberal environment. So we said, let's go to Kisubi. And we were very sure we'd go to Kisubi. When we were filling our forms, I remember all of us put Kisubi, not only as first choice, but as the only choice. And the headmaster refused our papers. Mr. Mehanje, so we therefore were forced to make second choices. So
which couldn't have been the school you were in.
Yeah. So I decided that, because I needed to fill the form, so I put Namidiang as my second choice. Yeah.
What an insult.
What was I going to do? I was forced to put a second choice. I don't remember what Ivan and the others put, but they all put other schools, but we knew we were going to Kisubi. But that was against the wishes of the headmaster. The headmaster said, you must come back to Ontario School because I need you. He even dangled positions, he said he was going to ring-fence certain positions for us. The most powerful positions in Ontario School were NUSU president, president of the school council, entertainment head, entertainment minister. Actually, that one was, I was supposed to take entertainment. Then HP. I think Ivan was supposed to be HP, maybe Alan was supposed to be news president, I don't remember. But we said, no, we are going. And thank God we performed very well, went to Kisubi. So we reached Kisubi. We had this expectation of we are going to this, well-organized, streamlined, very disciplined, controlled environment in a Catholic school, We reached there because we were many, so we kept company, together, and then we found guys that we knew either from primary school or other
Interactions and other
interactions.
spaces, yes.
And then, we gelled in very, very well. And then we found Kisubi was not exactly what we thought it was.
Oh,
Yeah,
so you were underwhelmed.
the liberty was there, especially for HSCs. We were never allowed to ask for permission to go home.
Hey, you
No,
just go.
we're not allowed. Just pick your whatever and hit the road at Savview and go home, and then come back whenever you want. So, Brother Tinker was a wonderful headmaster. I think in his previous life he must have been to Ontari School. So he allowed us to exist, and not just us who came from Ontari School, but all of us who were in school. But of course there was, the liberty was not as much as you'd find at Ontari School. Mm-hmm. Just like in Ontari, there was no gate. I think the first time they got a gate is when
some more very high profile
a certain first son, entered the school, but there were no gates at all. I remember, again, I kept the same company. Now here, I will not even mention the individuals because these are CEOs of big corporations in this country that I used to go with them every night.
to go and drink.
To go and drink.
You never drank the
Never. So we used to go through Swatas where they would drink Waraji, Mile 15, I don't remember the name of the bar.
Teko
of the Teko. And they would first read up to like 9 or 10. You were in Kisubi, so we had those cubicles. First go in your cubicles, read seriously, 9, 10, disappear.
Come back.
2 a.m. I remember when in our very second week at Kisubi, we went out dancing at Nkumba College. And we walked, I think, around 11:30. So we were, all of us who came from Ontari, and then about 6 people
joined in.
Yeah, so we were called exotics, and then these were indigenous. So we had about 6 indigenous. So we went dancing. And then when we are there, I think about 2 a.m., Teko guys, there was a college school called Kisubi Technical. They were normally bigger guys, older. And we were good dancers, we were very suave,
and
classy.
The bonnet and the girls.
And the bonnet and the girls loved us, although many of them were older than us. So they didn't like it. So around 1:30, the girls tell us, you know what, you guys are in danger. What is it? As the headmaster, no, the headmaster. Even worse, these Teko guys. And they had Mitaimbwa.
Hey.
So we ran out. They chased us for like 2 kilometers. So when they gave up chase and went back, we fell into a roadblock of Mayumba Kumi. That time it was Mayumba Kumi. Now, lucky for us who had just come, but we knew. So we are not going with our IDs of Kisubi. We had our IDs of Ontari School. So when they called us, these Mayumba Kumi guys, they were patrolling. We said, we are from Ontari School. We're in half term. We are staying at a teacher's, so we picked one of the boys to declare that one of the teachers was his brother. They said, then it's okay, you can go. But these ones of Kisubi, no, we will not give them their IDs. They will find the IDs at the headmaster's office tomorrow. We said, so anyway, we negotiated. I think the negotiation took about 30 minutes. And then we gave them a bit of chai. Yeah, it was cold. They were supposed to drink some tea.
That business, you mean, is not a recent thing?
Of drinking tea? So they released the IDs and we
Those
went.
guys must owe their livelihood to you.
To us, yes. We are the ones who cooked the whatever.
Let's play your next song, Aggrey.
My next song. Now, Kisubi.
It possibly must have been one of the songs you danced to in Nkumba that night.
No, we were dancing to all sorts of songs. But, so let me take you to my time in Kisubi. Kisubi, our official girlfriends were supposed to be Namagunga. But our love and joy, the girls that were close to our hearts were Nabingo.
Because they were a little less stuck up than the other characters.
Exactly, and they were very liberal. So, and they wore red skirts. So one
Rapper skirts.
the rapper skirts, the red ones. Huh? Were they red or
Maroon.
Maroon, huh? Yeah, but we always identified this song with Nabingo. If Chadi came to play for us Soul Disco, if you remember Soul Disco, and he not play this song, then we would withhold part of the
Part
money.
of the payment.
So I'd like you to play for me a song by Chris DeBug called Lady in Red. Lady in Red. Lady in Red. I mean, I could sing it for you, all of it.
From the look on your eyes, clearly it has a good set of
but
good memories.
that song reminds
Along with
me,
it.
gives me lovely memories of my time at SMAC.
On a Sunday evening such as this one, when we listening to beautiful life stories, a song such as this one, Serenade Us, is not a bad idea. We'll be right back. It's Desert Island Discs. Stay with us.
Desert Island Discs on 91.3 Capital FM.
Welcome back. It's Desert Island Discs. It's Aggrey Kankunda sharing with us his life story. It's an interesting life story. He's got fond memories of his school days. But up till now, we are almost halfway into the program. He hasn't shown signs of being a philanthropist, the kind that would merit being long enough in Rotary as much as he has. But I'm sure that's what's coming up next as he shares with us his life story. So in Kisubi, you are reading to become what? Because making that choice also meant that you had a vocation in mind.
Yes.
That you were striving to be.
Okay.
What was it and why?
In Kisubi, I was reading to be an accountant. I decided to be an accountant when I was in senior 2 in Intari school. So when it came to picking a combination, I picked MEG, and that's what...
That's mathematics,
economics and geography. And
What
that's what
made you choose accounting as a vocation? Did you know someone that was an accountant that was leading?
Yeah,
very well?
I think my big brother, Jimmy Murezi, was an accountant at Uganda Clays. I think he must have influenced. Not that he talked me into it, but he was a successful accountant. And I think growing up, I admired him, I looked up to him, he inspired me. So I think that's what, and this is subconsciously, by the way, but I was a numbers person. For reasons I don't understand, even when I know that I had an engineering career as with motor vehicles, as a motor vehicle manufacturer. I didn't want to be an engineer. I didn't want to be a doctor, although I grew up being called Dr. Aggrey. But I wanted to be an accountant. So when I was in Kisubi, I therefore did MEG, which I excelled in. And then I went on to do
Go to the university to
do accounting. I did BCom, but before that, while I don't remember any career guidance at Intari school, I knew that we got a bit of career guidance from a teacher. He was a maths teacher called John Malengane. I think he still does business in Kisubi. I admired John Malengane. In one of the things he told us, because he came and we shared with him what we wanted to do in one of the classes. So I told him I wanted to be an accountant. Somebody else told him he wanted to do this. So he gave us, non-traditional, what I may call non-traditional, because as we grew up, everybody wanted to be an engineer, an accountant, a lawyer, a doctor.
Just about it.
Just about it. So then he introduced us to other things, quantity survey, architecture, land economics, and I picked especially architecture and quantity survey.
Wow.
So I wanted to do those.
So because you're too brilliant, you were at one point lost for choice.
Yes, yeah. I could have done any of those. So we go to Makerere, and then so we start our studies. And I think towards the end of first year, there was an opportunity to do quantity survey. There was scholarships. So we went with a cousin of mine who was doing engineering. Went for interviews, But then they looked at our marks and all. Okay, and I must declare here that you know, we could have bent some truth here and there, because we said we were not here. Although we were admitted at Makerere, we said we were not here. We are not taking up the whatever. But I think they saw through us and threw us out. Then, at the very end of first year, there was another opportunity of doing architecture in Australia. The Minister of Education then was my own uncle, Hanero Manyamshega. And you remember those guys, 10-point program, you know, straight as an arrow. They believed in merit. So, you know, I went to him, again with this other cousin of mine, I won't mention his name. He's an engineer. So we go to him, you know, at his residence in Bugolobi. He says, hey, if the opportunity is there, then go. There are interviews here. Go sit for the interviews. You're very brilliant children. I know you're very intelligent. So we thought, you know, he could. Yeah. So we went there and he threw us at the wolves. And people who didn't have uncles like him, but had ways of going around, you know, got those scholarships. And I think I spent a whole year avoiding my uncle.
You were angry.
I was angry. No. Then later on, let me tell you something. Later on, he comes and tells us, you know what? I'm cancelling those scholarships. I have talked to the Australian government to establish a department of architecture, which will eventually be a faculty of its own. So now you guys, you are lucky. Instead of going to Australia all the way, can you imagine the distance? You're going to do architecture from here.
You didn't have half of the fun you wanted was getting away from
you. You know, as a child, in your head, you are going to Queensland, you know, you're going to be speaking English much better than I'm speaking now. And then you're going to be in a plane. And
18
here,
hours.
Yes, and here you are being told that no. Yeah, you'll do the course. But so the attraction was not just the architecture, but the fact that we are going to do it from, So, but, you know, I calmed down. And then in second year, I got a job with New Vision. So I never regretted. I started working with New Vision.
As an accountant?
As an assistant accountant. You know, the opportunity came when we were forced into, when the university was closed, when we had a strike, I think which was led by, presidential candidate Norbert Mao.
Oh, really?
And Honorable Olanya, Jacob Olanya. Yeah, they led that strike. So the university was closed for some time. So when I was in, it's a long story, so I won't go into it. When I was in that first vacation, there was like a small advert in the New Vision. I was staying in the flats in Bugolobi. I was reading, very bored. I saw the advert. I walked to the New Vision offices. I got the job as a data entry clerk. So I was, you see, these associations like Rotary, for me, didn't start just yesterday. I was a member of, it was called MUCA, I think Makerere University Commerce Association. I think I was the secretary or something. So actually that advert was calling for members, the executive of MUCA. So when I went there, but you see these other chaps who were like I think the chairman and treasurer had gone to their villages. So for me, like I was in Kampala, maybe wherever they were not reading newspapers.
So they saw the newspapers 2 years later.
Exactly. So when I went, so I was told, can you trace these guys? There were no phones. Where was I going to find them? So, you know, after working for about 2-3 weeks alone, they said, you know what, get us anybody. So I went, there was a friend of mine called George Vesije. He was my neighbor in Bugolobi flats, our neighbor in the flats. He was a forestry guy, but very brilliant chap. He was good at numbers. And then there was another lady. There were 2 other ladies. So they said we needed to balance. So I brought them in. And then we started. We chaptered the job. At the end of the strike, now we're going back. Because we had done such a wonderful job, me and George especially, they said we stay. They said, for you, I know because this George, for him, he was a graduate. but he was jobless at that time. So they said, for you, we would like to retain you. If you think you can get time during the weekend, come and chap a job. They were paying us on an hourly basis. Yeah, so but I think after some time, about 6-7 months, we finished the data entry and we started doing normal jobs. So I started off as a cashier, then as a stores clerk. Now that is when I was still at Makere. And that helped me, by the way. One, it meant I had money.
Yes. Float.
A lot. Yeah, I had money.
And we all know what that means.
That means every weekend I was in Angenois. I was in Angenois. Or at least I could afford to take somebody to Guild Canteen. Yeah, but I would drink soda, no beer. But that in a way controlled my social interaction. I didn't waste a lot of time in things because I worked every Saturday and Sunday. The more hours I worked, the more money I earned. And, it set me off very well. And so at the end of the third year, I just continued as a full-time accountant at New Vision. Yeah, first now as a stores manager, then as a cost accountant, and by the time I left, I was a purchasing manager. Procurement manager under Mr. William Pike.
Wow, let's play the next song, and then when we return, it's then how the journey of your professional career path of growth and development continues.
Now, my next song, which reminds me of my, my close friends, Richard Okot, Julius Tinker, and others, especially that I was with in
Julius Tinker, the very smart guy.
The engineer.
Oh, okay. I thought you were meaning the Toyota guy.
No, that's Joseph.
That's
Joseph, the Rotarian. So a song by Expose, Seasons Change.
Wow.
It was, and even as we danced to that song, we knew that seasons were going to change. We were going to stop being small boys at university and become men. So we were already, that kind of, brought us to reality that, whatever you're doing, there's a season for it. And enjoy the season as it lasts now, and that's what we did.
But tell me something, you existed at university without, yes, the mother of these children. Had you met her by then?
I met Edith, my wife, the mother of my children, in the first week. And actually, I was coming to that. But now that you brought it up, I'll talk about it.
It was after or before university?
In university. My first week at university.
So she was
yes, first week. You're moving, then you see this girl. So she was friends with a close friend of mine called Jacqueline Kovsinje from Bara. We are doing BCom together. We're very close friends. We work together in URA. We work together in Pricewaterhouse Coopers. And they were friends. They had been together at Maryhill. I think they were roommates in Africa. So when I saw them, I talked to Jack. I said, that girl. She said, what about this girl?
You and your friend Jackie were not related.
Related in what sense?
You were not.
No, we are not dating.
No,
if that's what you want to say.
You never had a blood relationship.
No. We're just friends.
But then you saw with a friend and picked interest in the friend.
Yes. When I went back to UH, I told my roommates in first year, Julius Tinker, don't remember, Richard Okot, and somebody else I've forgotten. I told them, I've seen a girl and I'm going to marry her. They laughed. So they said, you know what, you get your new card, let's go and eat.
You are hungry. Let's play your song and then we shall return on how this seemingly chanced encounter on this drop-dead gorgeous lady, long and short, now turns out to be the Edith that is the mother to your children.
Yes.
We'll be right back. It's Desert Island Discs.
Desert Island Discs on 91.3 Capital FM.
Welcome back. It's Desert Island Discs, and as always, enjoying life's little luxuries. Okay, and having a wonderful conversation with Aggrey here, sharing with us his interesting life story. So, Aggrey, you're a lucky guy. Many people in your cohort possibly left university and scavenged around for jobs.
Yeah,
you got yours before you left university.
Yes, true.
And you never looked back.
Never.
So you graduate from university, but before then, you had spotted an apple of your eye.
Yeah, spotted.
And so even as
Mororo from Rukunjeri.
so as you're going through all these motions of work and study, it was in the background.
Not
And
exactly, by the way. Although we met in the first week.
You never met again.
No, I used to go and see Jackie in Africa, and then of course also see her. She was a very reserved, still reserved. She was not like me person, and therefore, it's hard to, to penetrate her aura. So you had to
break
be
into
exactly
inner sanctum
in the inner sanctum of her was difficult. You were young boys who were still playing around. But again, also like I told you, because I shared my what should have been my social time with work. Yeah, that kind of curtailed it. But whenever I got a chance, I would go. And then one day, I think we were in second year, towards the end of second year, she agreed to go out with me. Go where? Guild canteen.
For a soda.
For a soda. Drank some sodas. Then like a month later, I have a cousin called Sima Pantheas. He had just come back from Russia with a lot of money. I don't know where he got money from. But of course, we were students. So somebody, I think, with like an equivalent of 100K now in his pockets. And then he was interested in a girl who was a roommate to Edith. Said, so one thing led to another, so we took them out. Yeah, so, we had a bash at we stepped on crates. We used to call it stepping on crates. Beer then was very, very rare.
Oh, yes. To have beer.
Yeah. So, but for him, he was drinking. I think his girlfriend was drinking. Edith and I were drinking soda. And then the very last day, the last sosh, where was it? I think it was at Guild Canteen again. Or was it? It was somewhere anyway. Where now, you have to have a girlfriend to go out. Because it's the last whatever. How do I do?
So
I went and convinced her. She accepted.
Oh,
now I knew her. So went, we danced up to, I don't remember, 3 o'clock. Escorted out to Africa, went back to my UH. And, we left university. I moved a bit because I was still looking for a house. No, actually, I had already gotten a house down here in Tintari. And then, but somebody was doing my bed. Yeah, a carpenter down here was doing my bed. So I didn't want to go into a house, without a bed. Without a bed.
And at the time you had the specifications for the bed.
Yes,
with the reinforcements.
But I had all the other things because I was working. So I had almost everything I needed, apart from a fridge. I think it's only a fridge that I didn't have, but all the other essentials I had. So I eventually left.
Which were, of course, a radio,
I had a rice cooker.
You were in
She was serious. So I had a rice cooker and a few other essentials. So we left, and then I continued with my work, and then hooked up with her again, like maybe 6 months after we had left. Yeah, and now.
And must have been a chance meeting as well.
No, it was arranged.
6 months.
6 months later, I hadn't bought my first car, so she was staying with her brother in Machindie. So I would go by taxi, pick her, take her to town. I remember when we were starting serious dating, we used to go to Entebbe every weekend to
Edido Beach?
No. Lake Vic Hotel. Yeah, Lake Vic. What is it called now? Lake or something? Yeah, difficult name, but it was Lake Vic. We used to go every weekend. I had friends of mine in Entebbe. Anthony Rubera-Ntwari and Arthur Rubera-Ntwari. I was with Arthur at SMAC. He was a year ahead of me. Now we're very good, close friends at university. And I think Julius Thinker would also join us in a few weekends. But we went there every week in a taxi. Then eventually, of course, I bought a car. After, I think, 1 year after campus, I bought my first car. And now I could afford to go
wherever
and
never.
pick her.
In style.
In style.
Then Rotary happened to you.
Then Rotary happened to me.
How
Rotary
was the church
happened to
meeting?
me when we were at university. I had a friend called Robert Kakembo. Every Wednesday, we're very close friends. We used to cook together. And my room was the kitchen. Yeah, my room was the
rice
kitchen.
cooker.
Yeah, we had a rice. I had everything. Yeah, so we had everything we needed. So they would come. We gather there. We chat. I didn't have TV, but Arthur had TV. And so after eating, then we'd go to Arthur's room and chat for a long time. So every Wednesday, I remember Robert would come. Excited, talking about something called Rotaract. We didn't understand. This weekend we're going to do this. Excited. Huh? And then for some reason, know that he was not a smart guy. Every Wednesday he was smart. And then I leave Makerere. I start living in Chitintale. I used to hang out in Middle East. For people who have been around, if you remember Middle East of the late 80s, early 90s, these were, lean to almost mud and water structures. But there was this car bar we used to hang out with. Now there are 3 ministers, I won't mention their names, that we used to hang out.
What's the name of that bar? Peaceful Rest
I
Corner?
remember, no. I know the owner was called Naomi, some Nyankore lady. I don't remember where she was from. But that's where we used to meet. Now, so I'd go there with my friend I told you about, George, because we were neighbors here and in office. So we used to get a taxi from New Vision, drop us at Middle East. Now, I remember that every Monday evening, some 2 gentlemen, and these are the people now that opened my doors to Rotary, to a good thing. 2 gentlemen, one called Godfrey Katamjuna, another one called Benon Turiamureba, and they are still Rotarians, Rotary Club of Kampala North. Every Monday they would come smart. Actually, one used to wear a bow tie like you. The other one would wear a normal necktie. But they would be happy. They would buy us whatever we needed every month. Very excited after their Rotary meeting. So I connected their excitement and their happiness with what I used to say with Bob Kakembo. And then, they told me about this animal called Rotary. I was working with, in accounting in New Vision with a lady, I think she was our internal auditor, called Siana Nakazwe. She was a Rotarian in Rotary Club of Kampala South. And so when I went to office, I told her about this thing called, she said, oh man, you will enjoy. So she said, but you are too young to join Rotary, because Rotary generally, you are supposed to join it when you've hit 30. So said, but I'm going to introduce you to a club of Rotaractors called Kampala State. This is 1992. So introduces me to a good friend of mine called Herbert Nsubuga. And now Herbert Nsubuga becomes my sponsor, introduces me, and I join, I become a Rotaractor. I tell you, since then, I have never looked behind. So I enjoyed Rotaract. We had very memorable things we were doing as young people, but most importantly was service. So we had projects. We had a project in a place called Bandwe of Natete, which even won international accolades. We built a community center. We used to go have medical outreaches every last Saturday of the month. That last Saturday, God, I don't know what you would convince me to do
Other than being there.
other than being there. So I remember we used to meet in town somewhere at a restaurant near Pioneer Mall is no longer there.
No longer there now.
Now near Pioneer Mall, and then would hire a taxi. Somebody would run down. I think Henry Chiveru is now a Rotarian. He would run down to
The park.
pick a taxi, then we go because many. So even us, a few of us who had cars, because I think by that time I'd bought my car, a Honda Civic Red. Left-hand drive, open roof. Like a serious young man. Yeah, so it was more fun if you went in a group.
In the group, yes.
Yeah, and so that starts my journey in Rotaract. So I enjoyed it. I was in Rotaract from '92 to '96, and then so there was a Rotary Club, Kampala South, whose membership, was going down. And the district leadership saw it necessary that they needed to breathe new life into the club.
Yes.
So they said, but the best thing to do is to start with people who are already in the thing. So they said, let's go and look for Rotaract. So they came to our club, Rotary Club of Kampala State, and picked, I think, about 6 of us and took us to Kampala South to breathe new life. And we did. Because when we came, the numbers continued going down. For like 1 or 2 years, but now we started attracting other young people, both who were Rotaractors and
those
others.
from without.
Yeah, and then so '96, after 5 years, I became a president. 2001.
Wow.
We used to meet at Nile Hotel. We used to meet at lunchtime, and then I passed a resolution that. I actually passed it before I became president, and it sailed through, that we change our meeting time from lunchtime to evening. Because I wanted to attract fellow young people. Because young people would come, and many of them couldn't afford the lunch at Nile Hotel. And then, which is Serena now, for the listeners who don't know what Nile Hotel is. Yeah, which is Serena now. Even that Mbara High School shop. That's Nile Hotel. And also, also us as Rotarians, you had to chip in, to buy for these young people because we needed them for the club to grow. So eventually we changed from lunch to evening. And that attracted more people, both young and old, and the club started growing. So I took up the club when we were about 37. Now, for you to be a Rotarian in good standing, you must have paid your dues, which is not a lot of money. We pay what? $100, $120 a year? And then you must also attend a minimum number of times. So in a month, if we meet 4 or 5 times, you should have attended at least 4, at least 2 out of the 4. So if you can't do that, then you're not a member. You're not a Rotarian. You're a member of a Rotary Club, but you're not a Rotarian. So, as a president and the auditor and accountant I am, after about 3 months, I looked through the records and I cut numbers. From 37, we came down to about 17, 18.
Yeah.
I chased the rest, including a very close friend of mine, the senior counsel called Yese Mugenyi. Very close friend. He's my son's godfather. I'm his son's godfather. So we are that close. That did not kill our friendship. We continued being very close friends. We still are. And so they left. So we're close to 30, serious, fully paid and attending, and also getting involved in service because we are a service organization. Yeah. And so from there, that time I was working at KPMG. I'd left now URA. I am now working at KPMG as an audit senior. Tough time because auditing is quite tough. Then after I think about a year, I left KPMG. I joined PricewaterhouseCoopers, worked there for 3 years. But meanwhile, I'm still in Rotary. So I'm doing all these things when I'm still in Rotary. And, when you are a president, and especially a good one, the district leadership will look at you with merit. And Rotary leadership is on merit, pure on merit. You do not campaign. So if you came with your
Our usual.
your politics, especially of Ontari school, you wouldn't survive. So it's pure on merit. And from then, I started serving beyond the club. From about 2002, 2003 up to now. Wow. So I think there are only 2 years where I never served beyond the club. So I served at the district level. The district then comprised of Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Ethiopia, Eritrea. So it was a big district.
That's 92011.
No, that was 9200. Yeah. So when we expanded, became very many. You know, that's the thing about Rotary. If the numbers grow beyond 1,100,
you split.
You split. So it's like a moiba. If you remember your biology.
It's like how we also do our districts in Uganda.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So that you can bring services closer to the people. So we split.
Let's play your next song. When we return, it's more about your career progression.
Thank you. My next song is a song. While most songs I relate them to times, this song is both in time, but also it relates my dating time with Edith. Mm-hmm. When we used to go to Angenois. No, we used to go to Angenois. No, I don't, would be in taxis.
It was predating.
It was predating. But now we are seriously dating. I have moved I first moved a bit from Chitintare, then went to Najana Nkumbi. I think
I get a bigger house.
A bigger house. Then came now to back to Bugol Flats where I grew up. So I got a flat on block 15, and then I had my Honda. Now I could afford to go and pick her from, with a bit of dignity from her brother's residence. Not these things of. So I'm taking her to Governor with rather Angenois. I still want to use Angenois because that's what it was then.
It is still Angenois.
Yeah. So. That song that reminds me of our time of, slows by Boys to Men is "I Make Love to You."
Self-explanatory and
many other things. But also, that song also reminds me of the days at Rotary Kampala City, because we started dating when I was a Rotaractor.
Is she in Rotary Club?
No, she's not. She says that I do more Rotary, enough Rotary for the entire family.
I think she's a brilliant lady. We'll be right back. Let's just get serenaded by this wonderful ballad from the Boys to Men. One of my all-time favorites, I must admit as well. I knew he had something in common with this guy. I didn't know it was about the taste of music.
Yes,
we'll be right back.
Desert Island Discs on 91.3 Capital.
It's how he blends his humor with the seriousness with which he speaks about his career path of growth and development. So now, here you are, Aggrey, you are knee-deep into Rotary.
Yes.
You are also running a successful career as an accountant.
Yes.
And not just an accountant in small, dingy facilities, but you are even in the big five.
Yeah.
PricewaterhouseCoopers. You worked for the Uganda Revenue Authority.
Yes.
But then you're also building a family, it's growing. And then you leave these job placements to become a consultant.
Yes.
Some people say that consultancy is the other word for joblessness. Why would you choose a bustling career to be killed by joblessness called consultancy?
All right. As a good Rotarian, you need to pay your dues. So I needed to have a job because you have to have a vocation, what we call a classification. So my classification for the longest time has been tax consultancy, but I'd always run something on the side. So I started, interesting by the way, I started my first farm down here. You see that building? Afrique Suits, what used to be Afrique Suits?
Yes.
Now it's called Luwalu or something, like 100 meters down it. I bought land there in 1995. I married Edith in 1995. Now, we had very many friends. I think I had only 3 wedding meetings. So when we started our wedding meetings, or when we started the wedding preparations, I opened a bank account in Standard Chartered Bank
For the wedding.
for the wedding.
Yes, very focused guy.
If Simon gave me a 50K
There.
everybody who gave me money, everybody, apart from the ones who gave me contributions in kind, but every single money we collected, and we didn't have these things on Sergeant at Arms that you've laughed badly. No,
You have looked
people
at
came.
badly.
Who so and so gave $1 million. It is here. Brought it. I would keep it the next morning, first
On the
thing
account.
on account. So at the end of our wonderful wedding, where we spared no coin because we did not want everything that we budgeted for, especially alcohol, of course,
Yeah,
and food, was there.
those two things.
Yeah. Our wedding.
And her cake and decoration.
Oh, can
Don't
you forget?
touch.
Then it's not a wedding. If her cake and decoration are not there, it's not a wedding. Our wedding was at Lohana Academy. It was the first and I think the last one because those guys, I think, are vegetarians. So they knew we were going to eat meat from there. So after that, they didn't allow anybody else. Now, after the wedding, we've balanced books, everything. I never left any
Debt
credit,
behind.
any debt at all. But then I found money on my account. Everybody is paid. So there is money. I never bought suits. My uncle, Abe Hawa Mushega, is a Canadian, sent us suits. My big sister, she's called Jean Mirembe. Our eldest sister lives in London, sent us another set of suits.
So you had tuxedos and all that.
Oh man, serious. I should show you the picture.
Yeah.
So everything was catered for. Now I find money on my account. So I say, what do I do with this? I buy land. I decided that from this surplus from the wedding, let me do something. I didn't want to put it in a savings account. I went and bought land down here. Big piece of land, I think about 2 acres. But most of it were squatters. So now I said the best way, it was encumbered, the best way to chase these squatters is to chase them with a perfume. So I went, now I want to bring you back to my story of Aunt Ida who brought me 2 chickens.
Chicken there.
Now that thing came back. I said, now let me start farming. So I started a poultry farm. My wife, Edith, was then a banker. And, but she was a branch manager and very busy. So I spared all my evenings between the farm and Rotary.
And Rotary.
Yeah. My Mondays, I'm in Rotary. It is the only day I didn't go to the farm. So I started a farm of chicken, and I had, I think, at the peak, I had only about 3,000. But then the margins were good. We used to do 40-50% margins.
Wow,
yeah. Now, at the same time, in 1996, I think, I started another business, a hostel, a student's hostel. So I was renting a house below college school from some old man, very kind old man. He had built a nice house, hadn't started living in it. He was living elsewhere, a place called Chizungu there in below Makerere. And so I went and bought beds and brought in students, started sleeping. Then I noticed the numbers were good. Now, the numbers here at the farm were also very good. They were so good that they convinced my wife to eventually even leave the bank. So now then, that set a very good tone and energies for the farm. She comes from a business family in Ruerere in Rukunjiri. Her father and mother have been involved in business for a long time. But most importantly, she has a very, very good financial discipline. So that has combined with mine, because I remember we had a rule. Every egg that is sold, even if you sold 1 egg, money is banked on an account. So there was Sembole Investment Bank is where we had an account. So every money that we made from that business was in the bank. So at the end of the year, if I did my computations and say I had made 30 million in profit, you would see the money in the bank. It was there. So after some time, this gentleman said he needed to occupy his house. So in 97, he even gave me whatever, half year free. Said, I'm giving you half year free. Look for where to take your students. So we currently run a hotel in Makerere. It's a boutique hotel called City Comfort Inn. It's my wife who runs it very well, professionally. Well, but when I was designing that structure, so long story short, I pick money from I tell the chicken to give me some money, plus my savings, I buy land, an acre in Makerere. That's the difficult of it. So now I say, in these 6 months, I should have put up a structure. So we build. All the money is coming from the chicken. Apart from like the last 2 months, things were tight. The chicken were being mean. Yeah. Yes, they were not producing enough eggs. So I went to Crane Bank and borrowed, I think, 10 million shillings. And I set history. I didn't have an account in Crane Bank. But you know, when you know guys who know guys who know guys. So we talked to Sudil. Sudil gives me an OD in Crane Bank. So I started my account with an overdraft. Yes, which we eventually, I think after 1 year, turned it into an ordinary loan. And that helped me finish. And in another 1 year, I paid off the loan. And so I designed the structure of the hostel so that you can either make it rentals or even make it a hotel. And indeed, after about 8 years, in 2005, we turned it into a hotel. Now it's a hotel. Wow. So the reason I brought that one in is when you talked about consulting, because in 2003, end of 2003, I said I need to leave employment. But I needed to leave employment when I knew I had a fallback position. Now, because Edith has left the bank, she's full-time in the farm and also the hostel. I decided to resign from PricewaterhouseCoopers and start my own firm. So I started my own firm called A&A Associates. Later on, we merged with another local firm called Miyanja Ruanga, belonging to Honorable Tim Ruanga. So we changed it from A&A, call it A and L Associates. And it grew to be one of the biggest indigenous audit firms in the country. So now I had the money, I still had money, to pay my dues in Rotary.
In Rotary, yes.
Yeah, so I continued in my Rotary journey continues. I continue serving at various levels as the district chair of this, district chair of that. But I think the most notable one was when the governor then, Robert Wagwan-Sibirwa, appointed me as a chair of the district conference and assembly. I remember I made a decision as the chair. Then most conferences used to take place in Kampala here.
You said that we are out of here.
No, I changed. I said we go to Entebbe. So for the first time, our district conference was in Entebbe, and it was a roaring success.
Now it never stopped being.
Never
come back.
Yeah. So I became chair of the council run. I became an assistant governor for 2 years. Assistant governor is you oversee a certain number of clubs on behalf of the governor. So that's why you called an assistant governor, and it's a big thing, really. And then I was a stewardship chair. Maybe as when you come to Rotary, one of the things we are looking at is what are you bringing on the table. If you're a journalist and we're going to deal with PR, then we know we can call on Simon to do that. So as an accountant, I said I need to do much more than just being a good Rotarian. So I remember some years back, I wrote a financial management manual, which lays out guidelines for how clubs should be, how club funds should be run. And from then, I think for the last 10 or so years, that's what all clubs in the district have been using. Okay? Wow. Yeah, and actually for a club to participate, because you see how we run our projects, the services we offer, is we get money apart from the contributions we get from good Samaritans like you, and the money we contribute, we also get money from our World Bank called the Rotary Foundation. So, but for you to get money to come and use in a project here, there are certain things you must tick off. You know, there's a checklist, huh? And one of them is you must demonstrate good stewardship in your club. And one of the things is you must show that you have guidelines that you're following in running the funds in your club. And that's what every club has been using.
Wow.
Yeah, so then most recently, about 2 years ago, another governor called Xavier Sentamu, a former Rotaract like myself, appointed me as his district secretary, as the district executive secretary for 2019-2020. After that, I'm now a district chair of a committee called Planning, Implementation, Monitoring and Evaluation for a new district which is beginning on 1st July called 9213. So I plan everything. Now this is part of this is Uganda, but not all of Uganda. Like 3/4 of Uganda now are in that district. It's still a big district. You know, we have plans. For me as a person who is not only just monitoring and evaluating what we are planning, but also as a planner, I want to make sure that this district grows.
Grows, yes.
And actually, if we are not careful, in another 3 years, it will, you remember the Amoiba thing? It will split again.
And a new life comes out of it.
Yeah.
Aggrey, your life story is obviously a combination of what we call a bit of grit and determination, but also certain values that are deeply held, that hold you together. And that sometimes is what many young people, especially the bulk of those watching and listening to us now, possibly lack. And it's not to throw superlatives at you, but it's to say that wealth, as they say, is accumulated over time.
Yeah, true.
And it takes certain deliberate steps, some of which are actually at the center of what is regarded as risk. Because for your wife to abandon
a well-paying job,
and assured job,
for
you to quit one of the top 5 audit firms and say, I'm going to go solo.
As a senior tax consultant,
you know. So it takes sometimes maybe even juvenile recklessness to say, I'm going to go at this.
My big sister Jean in London called my parents and said, I would suggest that you
do a mental check on this guy.
You take this young man to Tavika for a mental check. Nobody leaves PricewaterhouseCoopers because she knows PricewaterhouseCoopers, you know, the brand everywhere. You know, and it keeps its brand everywhere. Says nobody does that. But she didn't know that I had this risk appetite in me.
Has she since checked on you to see
she seems that, you know, I've since survived. I've since managed to put a roof over, you know, my family and take my 2 children through school. So she knows I took a right decision.
You took the right decision.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm sure there are many people who now, with the benefit of hindsight, look back and say, you were right.
Yes, definitely.
And that's the story of life, and that's how people merit to be on the program. And so, at this point in time, we are sometimes also interested in knowing what you're made of. Guys who make these kind of decisions, who go through this kind of thing, must be eating some special food. What's your favorite dish?
Yeah.
What's your favorite dish?
Kalo. My most favorite dish is kalo with chicken. Chicken, no spices, no nothing, just boiled chicken, just salt. So either chicken or meat, but which is not fried. And but kalo. And I don't eat kalo outside my house.
I was going to say, we have a problem here.
Yeah, no. And she's good. In fact, recently I saw her even training our daughter, you know, how to do the kafing. Huh?
And how do you wash it down? What's your favorite way of washing it down? Since that now you've just started with wine. And
my most favorite drink, since I was spoiled by my uncle and my cousin, is wine.
The dry
a Cabernet Sauvignon. A Simon Sig, you know, which rhymes with your name. But I like mostly French wines. JP Chenet. I now have. I'm now like an I'm now like an encyclopedia of wines to most friends who knew me as a teetotaler.
So now you're a proud connoisseur.
Yeah, but I think I take it in moderation.
moderation, yes.
Yeah, because I live with my children, so you know I don't want my children to see me.
No, the thing is, you also live upstairs. You
And
don't
I
have to
also
crawl.
and you see, I live in a glass house,
In a glass-
so I don't want to walk
through the
into-
glass. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Some things give you a good laugh, and clearly you can see that humor does give you a good laugh. But what gets you angry?
What gets me angry, and this I've meted it out to my staff, people is hypocrisy. Hypocrisy and laziness. Laziness. I mean, there's so much laziness, both in the mind and in the body, with the generation that we work with. That deadlines. Accountants, with reports.
At New Vision,
Yeah.
it's deadlines or you are dead.
Or you are dead.
That's what I saw in the news.
I mean, I worked in New Vision, so you know that. So that's what gets me angry. So that and like I've said, laziness. People who are slow in catching up on things, which of course many times, is not a good thing as a leader. Like I've told you, I'm not a leader, and I'm a leader also in business. I'm a leader in many other things. I sit on a couple of boards, about 5 or 6 boards. So you need to be tolerant with many of these things. But that's what would get me angry. Otherwise, a very happy person.
Happy go lucky life.
Yeah, because Simon, I'm not proud to say God has been kind to me. I've shared with you my life journey. I was never born. I was not born to rich parents. They were very modest
but
means.
You never walked
They loved
with
me.
barefoot.
Of course not. Thank God. Yeah, but they loved me.
People sit on that chair
Eh,
and tell me stories of walking 20 kilometers with the bare feet.
no, but
Or
nowadays.
tethering a goat under the bed on which they sleep, if they had a bed.
So the
anyway.
kilometers, I never walked then, I walk them now.
Now.
And that is one thing I have, by the way. I have what is called mental grit, mental determination. So recently, so we started walking with friends. Sam Ndahura is a neighbor down here. Peter Odoki, Pompi is a neighbor, just that house down there. So we started working together during the lockdown in April. So we used to walk 15, 30, 20 kilometers like that. So lately, a certain friend of ours started a challenge of a Nike challenge of walking 400 kilometers in 90 days. I said,
What is this
"Muchiga,
talking
what
about?"
is this? So they sent me the link after 4 days when they had started.
You caught up and surpassed them.
In 20 days, I'd done my 400 kilometers. Exactly 20 days.
Like,
So on average, I was doing 20, 25
you would
kilometers.
go and come back home, or you went and came back after 20 days.
For some reason,
No, you were Chica and migrate. You just set up.
actually, the other day, my wife, when I walked 34 kilometers, I think, was it Saturday or Friday last week, said, "Hey, I thought you had
You
gone."
gone.
Because I walked for 6 hours. I left in the
No,
morning.
one
when
of
she was
these days
sleeping.
you will go and you will not return until the next
But
day.
that's determination, and that's
Yeah.
what I have. So when I set my eyes on doing something, and I'm result oriented, I just don't want to do things fast. So I didn't want to join the challenge for the sake of it. So now that one I put it aside. Now I escort my friend Pompi and Sam and others just for the sake of it. So
Please, can you leave that group of persons with disability and join us?
Pompi, I hope you've heard. Huh?
He
Simon
knows.
has called you a person with
He
disability.
has how many MPs now in the house? Can we do some bit of, let's trot a little bit, let's joke.
You joke?
But
Where?
this is not my date to tell my life story. It
Eh.
is yours. So, me have only just, when the cameras go off,
Yes.
we extrapolate on that conversation.
Oh, really? I'm very happy to share
This is a
that
very
with you.
beautiful country, Uganda is. And many times when I sit with folks like you, I ask them, when you look around, imagine the beauty of this country and the things that you have seen and the places you've been to and the people you have met. There is that particular place that you'd want to be marooned in, just be thrown there for a weekend. Where would that be for you and why?
In this country, this very beautiful country. I would say my farm. And I've promised an invitation to my farm.
This is where this conversation should have taken place.
I
but
know.
you decided to bring us to this town dwelling. But
As you
nonetheless,
said, you wanted
closer
the
home.
data and what. But I would say my farm. But then, we've been working on that farm since 2006. So, there's so much development now. So you didn't call it marooning. But I think I would want to see a place, surrounded by nature. I love nature. I mean, that's why, you've seen there's so many birds, the dogs, and so many animals surrounding us, even here. So I'd want to go to like a game reserve.
Anywhere.
Anywhere.
Could it be Kidepo? It could be like Mburu.
Actually,
it could be Queen Elizabeth.
Kidepo.
Oh, okay.
In fact, I've done all national parks
Except Kidepo.
Yeah. Well, I was planning to go with
One
my
would-
family last year, and then you know what happened. 2020.
It remained open though. You.
The animals could have migrated, running away from COVID.
Since you have a pickup, you can pick your family with the pickup.
Yeah, but a place with a nice breeze like this, but surrounded by nature, no telephone, no nothing. Tranquility. Yeah.
Aggrey, have lived quite an interesting life, and one then wonders what next for you. So next 5-10 years, do we see you on a ballot paper?
What?
I mean,
No, never. That's not me. No. Don't be deceived by this color I'm
color.
wearing. This color is, first and foremost, in Rotary, our colors.
that wheel of yours is in yellow.
In yellow.
Eh,
So that's why I'm wearing yellow, you can see. But it's also our corporate color for our
the farm.
farm company called
Aggrey.
Aggrey has about 2 or 3 farms. One in Mitiana, one back home, one in Chiboga. So don't be deceived by this car. But what I would want to see in the next 5 years, I would want to see my son take up a more active role in some of the businesses that I run with his mother, with my wife Edith.
Why do you think so? Do you think he has the same interests like you?
Okay, let me tell you why he will.
Supposing he wants to go and write code.
No. Let me tell you why I think he will. So we at the farm, he drives that pickup very well, confidently. Can go to the farm, bring stuff, and supply to a few of our customers. So we have a network of customers, and he does that. So I already see he has interest in that. But I know that the interest he has there is probably he knows that when he brings these things, he sees money exchanging hands. So what I want to do in the next 5 years, apart from continuing to grow my consulting farm, is I want to grow our farm into a business, a proper business. Because I think you touched on it earlier. So I don't do farming any longer as a hobby or subsistence, like, because I go there and then bring matoke for us to eat here. No, I want to do it very seriously as a business. We're already doing that. So I want to structure the farm in such a way that Simon may not be interested in farming, but because I can give him financials and sees how well the business that is involved in farming is doing,
then I can invest in
you can invest. You can be an equity partner. But so that's where I want to take this in the next 5 years.
Wow.
I now have a bit more time. I can't say I'm in retirement. I'm not in retirement. I'm still a full-time tax consultant. I am a full-time Rotarian. When you join Rotary and when you reach leadership levels like I am, it's almost a full-time thing. You dedicate quite a lot of time to it. But I still want to, whatever time is left now, I no longer take children to school. I've told you my daughter Gasha is in uni in Canada. She's now going into her final year. Aguma graduated with a first-class accounting degree.
First class?
Yeah.
And you're sending this guy to go and account in a farm in Mitiana.
Yes.
That's
But that's the thing.
That's
You see,
the thing.
That's the thing. You see, we need to attract
The best.
the best in farming.
Because at the end of the day,
you remember during Amin's time, don't dismiss Amin. You know what
So
he had said
everyone
about
was-
education.
he said the
Everyone
best
was
guy
intelligent. You go and
became a
teach.
teacher.
So if you are good in accounting, we are talking about farming becoming a business. Then we need a good financial planner, financial manager. Okay? If you're good in designing, go and design the farmhouses. So I want to attract the best brains.
Not we, the farmers
best
who normally
professionals.
eat our seeds.
So that's what I want to do in the first phase. So then, like in 5 years, I basically want to retire. But you know, when you retire from business, you see, I'm
get
saying Rotarian,
You have to get
it
back.
means you have more time to dedicate to Rotary, and that's what I want to do, continue doing.
Talking about retirement, I think it's high time we retire from this conversation.
Yes.
Aggrey, we've had quite a chat. I know, of course, this is just a macrocosm of your life story.
Thank you,
We
thank
could sit here till the cows and chickens come home. to
Yes,
roost,
yes,
but
yes. Yeah.
time is never an ally on these things. But we must say for
Unfortunately.
to our listeners and viewers. What song should we leave them with?
What song? I told you I belong to a very strong club called Rotary Club of Kampala South.
Yes.
Which I have been instrumental in growing. When I joined the club, we were 25, now we are 100.
25, you fired 17.
No, then we became 37, then we became like 19, now we are 100. Very serious Rotarians, yeah. Now, so I've contributed to its growth because I've attracted many young people. There's something I didn't say, sorry, I'll say this very quickly.
No, please.
That I never left Rotaract. I'm a still full-time Rotaractor in my Rotaract club.
I thought these things have an age limit.
Yeah, except for me.
Hey.
I mean, you see how young
You
I am.
evergreen. I know.
Yeah, so
Just a
I
little
have
flower on your
exactly. No, you know, I was meeting maize for the
For the cows and
for the
the
cows
things.
and
So
the chicken.
it's flour.
Yeah, so you see this flower on my chin. So I remain in Rotaract, and that has helped us continue attracting young people to join the club. But I think personally, I have brought more than 25 members to that club. So I've contributed to its growth. So Kampala South has grown me. I've also grown it in a way. I've attracted very good friends, and you know, they have modeled, they have made Kampala South what it was. Now, so one of the things we have in Kampala South is we are winners. We don't stop at nothing. So whatever we participate in, whatever competition, we win. So we have many trophies, accolades everywhere. Now, so we always participated in an annual singing and dancing competition organized by the Rotary Club of Kampala North. And you know, for many years we've been winning. So I remember the very first year we participated in this thing. You know, seeing serious people like you, Simon, and you know, senior councils and very senior businessmen on the dance floor dancing like
little teenagers.
Huh? So we participated in a dance, and the song that led us to victory is by Swizi, Tip Swizi, called Tuzina Gano Agaliko.
Oh.
Up to now, if you play that song wherever we are, we'll stop whatever we are doing, even if we are running a health camp, because we built a big hospital in Chikandwa in Mukono district, and we have many other projects. But even if we are there and we are about to inject a patient,
And the
we'll
song
say, we'll take the disease, first chill, let's come back. We first dance this song and then come back and continue doing Rotary work.
Tuzina
So this thing,
Gano Agarico.
Tuzina Gano Agarico reminds me of the good times I've enjoyed at Rotary generally, you know, with all the other clubs that I associate with, but most importantly with my home club, Rotary Club of Kampala South.
If they don't make you a lifelong president, then they do not know what they have. It's been a pleasure having this conversation with Aggrey Kankunda here, who is an interesting guy, wears many hats, but most importantly today, he wore that of Rotary deliberately and literally. But well, we're glad that we have had this conversation with him, and he shared with us his life story. Interesting, almost born with a silver spoon in his mouth, then pampered and spoiled as a last born, but has merited into something quite of a phenomenon. We'll be right back, same time, same place, with yet another inspirational life story next week. So God bless and have a wonderful weekend.
Tukuba omuziki tukuba guno guliko tuzina amazinda tuzina aganagaliko tuzinaga nagaliko tukubaga nagaliko tukuba omuziki tukubaga n'oguliko tuzina amazina tuzinaga nagaliko tuzinaga nagaliko.
Desert Island Discs on 91.3 Capital FM.